Our next reader is Miao Lovett. She began her writing career after a 600-mile backpacking trip on the Appalachian Trail, where she encountered a stalker, a compulsive poet, could be the same person, and 10,000 mosquitoes. She's been a frequent contributor to the, I'm sorry? Oh, can you guys hear? Is this okay? I probably actually don't even need the microphone. I'm providing my own feedback. She's been a frequent contributor to the San Francisco Chronicle, KQED's Perspectives, and has also written for Narrative Magazine, Earth Island Journal, China Rights Forum, and National Public Radio's Making Contact. In both fiction and nonfiction, Lee's work has received awards or finalist standings from Stanford Magazine, Glimmer Train, and the James Jones First Novel Fellowship. She'll be reading from her forthcoming book, In the Lap of the Gods, A Tale of Love and Loss amidst the rising waters of the Three Gorges Dam. And I have a note here, apparently I'm supposed to say, go Cardinal. It's a lovely color. I should go burgundy too, because that's nice too. Will you please welcome Miao Lovett. It's a no-shit thing.
So for the record, I have never been married to Miao Lovett, not for a year or for a week, although I do love the singing. And I sort of did a little about face, and I'm going to actually take something out of chapter 3. Now, what just happened in the prior chapters was that Lu, who's my main character, lives as a scavenger. And sort of deep in the heartland of China, where the Three Gorges has just flooded this entire part of the Yangtze as long as Lake Michigan. So he doesn't know what to do with a baby now. Have you all had a baby and suddenly you're like, what do I do with this crying, squealing, drooling thing? Well, this baby isn't his. So he learns of this trader, this sort of shady dealer, and he decides to take the baby to Fang. And sad to say, but you know, the novel is fiction. It's not my life. I was not the baby, but there's truth to it. And so for all you out there, you'll know the backstory is I read a little newspaper clipping years ago that a busload of abandoned babies have been found off a highway in China. So, okay, so bring her in here, Fang said. They headed into a smaller room where a large portrait of Fang's ancestors graced the walls. Laid down on a pine wood cot were 3 other infants fast asleep, only their heads poked out from the edges of a wool blanket. Where'd they come from? Lu asked. Mrs. Lung brought them over. Folks left these 2 girls at the market. Refugees lightening their load, Fang mused. The boys' parents knew she could take care of unwanted babies. Had a soft spot for them. I put a bit of rice wine in their gruel. Works wonders, good for this old louse too. Hasn't dulled your wits, old Fang, Lu remarked. How much do you fetch for the healthy ones anyway? Fang lit his pipe, ignoring the probe. Any good loot in the houses? Nope, not really. Just found the youngster. She must be worth something. Lu flicked his cigarette up and down in his mouth as the infant's eyes followed his movements. He was not going to let Fang have the pendant that he found. There was an old chest, too big to carry, and a mahjong set. I'll take that to Big Chen. So his store is full of cheap bric-a-brac. That stingy bastard won't give you anywhere near market value. Well, sir, I wonder sometimes if you do. Lu stared directly into Fang's placid eyes. My good man, have I ever given you a bad deal? The broker rose from his chair. Look, I'll give you 80 yuan for her. She's skinnier than the rest. He gestured toward the sleeping infants. The male had a hawkish appearance, while the twin girls had more rounded faces, but all were less gaunt than the new arrival. That one's got a hair lip, said Lu, pointing at the boy. Fang walked over to the cot, took the pipe out of his mouth, and stuck it into the fleshy gap between the boy's nostrils. The creature wriggled and sputtered, then fell back into a fitful slumber. The 2 flaps of his upper lip curled as if remembering the warm flesh of a mother's breast. He'll fetch 70 yuan, Fang said. He drew a long puff from his pipe. Who would have guessed that girls would be worth more than boys? The old man glanced at Lu and lowered his voice to a soft growl. I tell you, there are young women in the city who think they're as good as the men. with their college education, they don't know what it's like to eat bitterness. Their flesh is soft, just right for a man's hands, but not for hard labor. Lou nodded. Lou nodded. Perhaps life had indeed gotten easier for the younger generation. In hushed tones, Fang had once told him that he'd been sent to the countryside as a young man to be re-educated. He had borne the stain of a capitalist background during the Cultural Revolution. After his affair with the daughter of a high-ranking leader, he had been flogged and publicly ridiculed. Somehow his life was spared. And so Fang took flight to Badong, deep in the Yangtze's Three Gorges, to labor in a munitions factory. Down by the harbor, he remembered watching the trackers along the Yangtze's riverbank. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of men yoked to barges like oxen, pulling the boats through treacherous rapids. More than once he had seen the boats, more than once he had seen the lines break and several men would be swept away like flotsam. But now even the great river would be tamed by man. As the Yangtze's banks rose steadily, swallowing the sweat and blood of a bygone revolution, it too would become soft and flaccid. Yes, they're soft nowadays, Lou agreed. Except for this one. He pointed to the new arrival, now sedated by the slumber of her companions. I tell you, old man, she's scrappier than a stray dog. All right, 90 yuan for this pup, said Fang. My friend, that's a pittance for found treasure. Fatten her up, and she's worth more than that. Lou stroked the black wisps on his chin. I even fancy keeping her for myself. Ah, why take an abandoned pup when you father more than a few little bastards in the shed, Fang snorted. Why, I've seen a youngster or two in the village upriver with a big western nose like yours. Little Lou, I call them, Lou's little pups. The old man slapped his thighs, howling with laughter. Lou dug in his heels. Mr. Fang, he said evenly, we have done business, you and I, for some time now. A little respect for your comrade, please. Of course, my friend, you deserve no less, the old man chuckled. Why, you're the best scavenger of them all. Not just for heirloom chests and the like. That's dead heavy stuff. These 10-kilo gems are worth more than their weight in gold. You know where to find the live treasure. Then pay me what she's worth, Lou replied in a steely voice. The man claimed they were business partners, but he always seemed to have the upper hand. Fang stroked his pipe. All right then, you want a fair cut? Tell you what, you come with me to Chongqing. That's right, my friend. I'll take you to the orphanage and we'll get a good rate for these pups. What's in it for you? Lou furrowed his brow. Simple, Mr. Lou, the old broker replied. You keep me supplied, and I keep your trust. He patted his partner on the back. Trust. Now that's hard to keep around nowadays, even harder than pocket money. The two stepped outside to where Fang's vehicle was parked next to his neighbor's chicken yard. The late afternoon light played against its metal hull. The lettering on the side looked like chicken scratches in the dirt. What does it say? Lou asked. Chongqing, taxi and transport, the old broker smiled. At your service. I bought it from a cabbie who's doing a little time in jail. For what? Lou wondered, but dared not ask. You sit here, the old man said. We'll put the babies in the back. Thank you. So, hopefully the postcards went around, and that's just a brazen way to say, buy my book, consider my book when it comes out in 2 months in November. I'll be reading at Book Passage for the book launch, November 6th. And some of those cards say that. If they don't, then my name, Miao Lovett, has all the information. And the one card out there, I hope y'all can hear me, because one card out there has the name of a town inscribed on it. So look in your cards, and most of them, I didn't get to all of them, but they will have the name of a town along the Yangtze River. And it might say Wushan, where I spend a lot of my time. Or it might say Fengdu, which is a site, it's actually an old ghost town that really became a ghost town. And then somebody has the one that says Fengzhe. It's F-E-N-G-J-I-E. There's one that looks like Fengdu. So somebody waved me up, and I gotta go, but that person is gonna get a free book and just come see me and give me your info. Thank you.
Thank you.